there's still the question of what happens when those arms are recovered. Are they destroyed? Are they stored somewhere? I've always wondered, when they tell us that they've got this large cache of arms, 661 pump action rifle, and they show it on television, we see. Then what? Are they stored somewhere?
Or do they hand them over to the police for use and so on?
We in our armories in the police force some years back. I think that was in the 90s and early 2000. There were cases of insecurity. People were having arms. They were, owning a lot of firearms, and the government then issued an order directive that all private individuals who are in their possessions firearms should voluntarily surrender them to the police. And a lot of people complied. And those weapons were kept at various armories all over the nation up to now. We discovered that at a point in time, the police was having issues of death of firearms, and someone came with the idea, presented this to the presidency, that it wouldn't be a bad idea if some of these recovered arms and ammunition were diverted for use
by the police
to fight crime. I don't know what happened, but I know there was a move to that effect. But you should also know that a lot of arms have been destroyed in this country, just like they destroyed drugs. So that I cannot say. So maybe those who are still in the business will tell us better what is the truth.
Let me add value to this discourse. There is a global committee on professional small arms and light weapons, now medium weapons. And I remember that the last time we had very serious discussions on professional small arms was in the year 2002, which was held in South Africa. And I also know that it's a strong committee within ECOWAS on professional small arms because of course, the aftermath of the problems in Liberia and Sierra Leone. And I think that what we have in the country is not more than the strength of a committee. And I think that's not not enough with the problems we have from the Niger Delta and of course from the problems from Boko Haram. So I think we need to up the game in terms of the committee, not the committee. We should be having almost a directorate attached to a ministry, having the right legislative body to oversee them. And then, of course, link them up with the regional, sub-regional organization, and of course, the continental organization. The production of small weapons, from the little experience I had in organizing or coordinating the Nigerian context for that body in South Africa, is such that you cannot handle it alone. Because first, the proliferation and the article is foreign to your country. Whereas we have a DIC, but most of these weapons that are smuggled in or stolen into the country come from exchange, either from crude oil theft or from drug exchange or something. So they don't just come as just a bargain to buy, because it's difficult to buy arms. The processes are difficult. It's only possible from government to government. And so whatever arms get in the country illicitly, the way to tackle it must be through these bodies, the sub-regional body, and of course the continental body and the global body. Because every arm you buy or import, it comes from somewhere. And you need to trace it to where it's coming from for you to abate the import into the country. Like the ones we've been experiencing at the ports of recent. They come from somewhere. We know they come from somewhere. Hence the security agency are tackling it from the root, from where it came from. And so we need to change the conversation about professional small arms from the committee that we have to a directorate, to a strong body, monitored properly, overseen and have with oversight functions from the state over professional small arms. It's a very powerful, strong problem. If you look at the kind of problems we have in terms of insecurity from militancy to Boko Haram and the rest, we need to put a body that is headed at least by an ambassador, somebody from the ambassadorial level, that has the clout to move within the sub-region and the continent, and can have a voice at the United Nations in terms of driving the policy on professional small arms. It's not an issue for a little committee. It's an issue that we need to pursue
I'd like to chip in
at that kind of a level.
I think I'd like to chip in something here. I'd like to support the Admiral's position that the proliferation of arms thing needs to be strongly looked into. But what I want to add here is that, just like he said, it's a global issue. And I'm aware that, countries are expected to have signed into these, treaty. There's a treaty, against proliferation of arms. And you'll be shocked. I'm not very sure, but from the last time I went into this, I think the United States of America is yet to sign. Is yet to sign. So you can imagine, where our problem is coming from. So it's not just a Nigerian problem alone or an African problem alone. It is a global one.
Many of the arms, what you're getting at is that many of the arms manufacturers have not committed to the proper guidelines.
Absolutely.
So those who are in need of those arms will probably find it easier to get it from them.
Absolutely.
Which comes to the point that Admiral Akpa was making earlier about the government-to-government thing and the fact that except if you want to go by the rules, you have to go government to government. But if you are willing to bend or break the rules, there are other ways you can get the same arms.
I think self-preservation should be key in here, because we as Nigerians, as Africans, with our own body, the ECOWAS, the sub-regional organizations, we must try to look at ways of combating this terror, okay? And what am I saying here? You find out that just like the AIG Roha said here, that what you find them, recovering is just a tip of the iceberg. A lot, because we have a very porous border.
And we keep hearing that.
We have a very, very porous border. You understand? And I must really commend the effort of the present leadership with the customs, because hitherto nobody heard about these recoveries, but lately, we've been hearing almost, within 6 months.
It would have been very comforting what you said, except for the fact that also within the discussion we have heard that for every one of the ones that we have heard of, there may have been 10 that already passed by before we managed to catch one.
But one thing again that is important here is that, there must be some steps to be taken, some sanctions, visible ones. Because the other time I was reading that there was some kind of plea bargaining for arms dealers. Honestly, I don't think this is what we should be talking about here. I think they should set examples, because almost on a regular basis now you hear, very sophisticated weapons coming into the country. So just like the Captain Umar said before he left, once you set some stringent example, yes, people will crowd. Human rights organizations, of course. But like you said, again, you go to court. If their lawyers are able to speak and argue properly for them, okay, fine, all well and good. But let them be prosecuted. And I think it's a welcome development that the Senate is considering, or has approved their sentence.
And that's in the case of kidnapping.
Yes, but it's all crime.
That's one of the things the small arms are used to.
Absolutely, because the kidnappers, nobody comes with open arms and say, look, I'm kidnapping you. You won't follow him or her, but they will always use these arms. So there is a willing criminal. And then with
when it comes to kidnapping, we over exaggerate things, Sorry to say, because if you check the statistics of crime being committed in the country, and then single as kidnapping as a subhead, you discover that it's quite negligible. So the issue of prohibition of small arms and light weapons for kidnapping is It's not much. It's not much.
With all due respect, I would disagree.
I don't think that we need to trivialize the issue of kidnapping.
No, we should not trivialize it because almost on a daily basis, people are kidnapped.
Even if only one person
Sometimes
is
people
kidnapped,
don't even talk.
It ought to bring us.
It's a serious issue. But what I'm trying to say,
we shouldn't trivialize it at all.
Okay, gentlemen, so that you don't talk over it.
We've actually completely run out of time.
Okay,
so it's on that note of agreement from between the three of you not to trivialize the issue of kidnapping that we're going to have to stop it. Admiral Francis Akman, AIG Donald Roham, and Colonel Yomidare, thank you so much for being with us. This is a topic on which we could spend the entire 3 hours. The program has been allocated, but we haven't. So we will have to continue it some other time. But thank you very much for coming on the program today.